Just some good
That
old-fashioned
ruled.
rock and roll, man.
It is literally straight. That is as straightforward rock and roll as it could possibly be. And I love that because one of my favorite bands in the world is the Foo Fighters. And I think they are also just straightforward rock and roll. And I love that sound.
Yeah. It's not trying to be anything more than rock and roll.
Yep.
And it's just, this song is an absolute party jam too.
Oh, 100%. 100%. It sounds like something, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like something that like in 2007 or 8 when they had like all those like party movies.
Oh yeah.
In general.
Totally sounds like it would be like a party movie soundtrack song. Yeah, absolutely.
It does. It literally does. Or even better, you know what? You could also put that song on Tony Hawk's Skater.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah,
that's a great song, dude.
These guys were super cool. They were the second to last band to play the first night of Jorts Fest out in Nashville. And again, really fun to see live. And I think that when I interviewed them for my video that I made at that festival, I think they said that they have new music that they're working on that should come out later this year or early next year. So definitely keep an eye out for that as well, because they have new music in the works.
I love that.
The main guy from this band, too, also runs a guitar store. I've actually got their sticker on my water bottle right here, Jack's Guitar Keyology. Nice. And they do some really neat stuff with like restoring classic guitars and doing mods and stuff like that. They've been doing a lot of rubber bridge guitars recently and actually got
That's so sick.
I think they got featured. Are you familiar with the JHS show? They do like pedals and stuff like that. So
no, I've never seen it.
They're on YouTube. They do a lot of stuff about like pedals and like unique guitars and stuff like that. And they actually featured one of the rubber bridge guitars that he made in their like rubber bridge guitar live stream video thing, which was
so sick, dude.
Super neat. These guys are all super cool.
Now, if you're pulling up the Widow, Ryan, make sure you're getting the radio edit. I don't know if have you ever listened to this band or no, the Mars Volta?
They're one of the bands that I have listened to in passing, but they were again kind of before my time, and so like I never like got into them, you know, if that makes sense.
This is one of those bands that like talk about a heavy influence over everything I do in my life, except for the drugs. I don't do all the drugs they did because wow, did they love drugs.
Oh, I actually never realized because I just popped onto their Spotify page. I didn't realize that they were just a duo. I thought that it was a full band.
So the two of them, Cedric and Omar, have always been together since At the Drive-In.
Gotcha.
But the thing is, they've had every other piece has kind of like come in and gone and come in and gone. They've gone through like, you know, 4 different drummers. They've gone through multiple like saxophone players, multiple bassists. You know, what's so cool is, you know, Flea came in and played bass for them for a little bit.
Oh, really?
The guy from Limp Bizkit came in and played with them for a little bit, the guitarist. They've had like tons of different people come in, but Omar writes everything musically. So he is just a genius. And it's so funny because if you ever read his interviews, like with any of his drummers or anything, they'd always be like, I would be playing something so cool. And Omar would be like, not crazy enough.
Nope.
I want it wilder. And he would make them go wilder. And I'm telling you, just the man is an absolute psychopath. So they actually, but like in the best way.
Yeah.
So they actually recorded their last 2 albums, weren't even in the same room with each other ever, Omar and Cedric. So they actually would be, you know, they lived across the world from each other at the time, and they were having huge debates and they did not like each other as humans. So they were like, well, then let's just record music together, but not have to see each other. And they would just send each other stuff. And basically Omar would send him the tracks and Cedric would send him back all the vocal stuff that he did. And they'd be like, wow, that's cool. Okay, let's just go with it. So we don't have to see each other anymore because they had that big of a problem with each other.
Wow. It's funny though, because that is very like a very 2020s way to make an album.
very.
So
but I mean, this was back during, you know, 2000, before like when the internet was just coming around. And if you ever look up how they recorded a lot of their old albums, they wouldn't do it in one studio. They would record, say there was 11 tracks on an album. Okay, we're going to 11 different studios. It was wild.
I have heard of bands doing that, though. Like, there was the one Foo Fighters album, I think, that every single song was recorded at, like, a different, like, classic studio. I forget which album that was.
I don't remember either, honestly. There's There are so many Foo Fighter albums, dude. Have you heard the newest one?
Yes, it's so good.
It's so good.
It's really funny because I had never been like, I'd always liked the Foo Fighters, but they'd never been one of my like, oh yeah, they are the band that I'm into. They had never been that for me. And also, maybe it's just me, but again, they had never really been an album band for me. It was like I would listen to the few singles, and that was kind of just what I knew of them. But then I listened to that one, and especially just the influence of Taylor Hawkins, and then I think Dave Grohl's grandmother or somebody may have passed recently as well, and so that was also part of that. And like it hits so hard, and all of those songs are fantastic. It's a great collection. One of my favorite songs. One of my favorite albums of the year, probably.
I love that. Heck yeah, that makes me so happy. But oh my gosh, this band, this is back when they had my favorite drummer of all time.
It is kind of funny to me too that some bands will do just like a really long album version of a song, and then like the single will be like extremely cut down. I think that the first time I ever knew of that was the first time I tried to listen to Down with the Sickness by Disturbed and got the full version, and it freaked me the fuck out because I'm like, what is going on right now?
I was kind of expecting Death Cab, because Death Cab did the same thing, and Death Cab, it's like that song, like dude, that song legitimately on the album is like 10 minutes long, where the actual single version is 3.5 minutes, and everybody is always like, why did they do that? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know, because the Death Cab version made no sense to make it 10 minutes whatsoever. It's the same bass line for 6.5 minutes.
That's so funny. All right, let's give this a listen.
So wild.